What's going on, world travelers? It is your co-host here, Judge Mentalist, with another episode of Big Sexy Digital Nomad. I am recording here from my home, which is currently a little bit of a construction zone. Big Sexy has some new scenery, it seems, himself, because I am seeing a different background, which means he is in yet another Airbnb, which is, what to expect from being a digital nomad. So what's going on, Big Sexy? Where are you today?
What's up? First off, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever this is hitting your ear holes. I hope that it is good. I am in still in Torremolinos, in Malaga, Spain, in a new Airbnb, which is funny because we leave this Airbnb tomorrow and we go back to the Airbnb we were just in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had to be out of there for 4 days because it was just booked for those 4 days, but it was clear after that, and so we booked right back in it for the remainder of our time here in Spain. Looking forward to moving back. This is a studio. It's too small. We found a place that is too small. It's nice. It's really, really nice. Like, I like it. I like the location. The balcony. If anybody's on my Instagram has seen me post pictures of the balcony where I did some work the other day. It's lovely. But again, the space is small, but the two of us and the dog, it's a little bit.
But it's, like you said, it's temporary because the time that you had your other one, the one, I guess, let's say more desirable, more appropriate, had a little gap where somebody else had booked some days or whatever.
Correct. Yeah. So we had to make other accommodations, as it were. And so we have. So, it's pretty nice. And we will be back in the other one, like I said, tomorrow until we leave Malaga. We're set to leave on the 20th or the 23rd. So either we'll have a place here in Spain. Either we'll be in the UK on the 20th or the 23rd. We know we absolutely have a place to stay starting on the 23rd. But we're looking at between the 20th and the 23rd if we're going to try to find an Airbnb in England, which are kind of a little more pricey, or just stay in Spain for 3 more days. We'll see what's happening, what's going on. Not sure. Depending on when we buy our plane tickets and where we find where to be.
Yeah, of all of the travel that I do, I have stayed in very, very few Airbnbs and have booked even less of them. Like the times that I have booked an Airbnb, I don't even know when I've booked an Airbnb for myself. Maybe I haven't, but it's, only a few trips have I gone on where there's been an Airbnb involved and somebody else has booked. I've had good times every time I've done it. It just hasn't, when I go to Vegas, or a lot of times, and again, some of this comes from being,
you're a high roller in Vegas, so
I'm a bit of a degenerate. I don't know that I really.
You're a mid roller.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if there is a tier that is considered a high roller, I am at the bottom of that.
Right.
And so
you're high in the mid and low in the high.
There are people that spend substantially more money in those places than I do. So, are they happy to have me back every time I'm in town? I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But there are some bigger whales out there than me by far. But yeah, and one of the great things for that is, and I'm starting to kind of look into this for September because RJ and I are doing a couple shows out through the Midwest, and that And for anybody who's interested in looking for that out there, that schedule keeps changing and different parameters keep changing. So nothing's been released because only like one or two dates are solid solidified. There's a whole
Right.
bunch of stuff up in the air. But one of the great things about these casino properties, and I guess this kind of falls into a little bit of a travel tip if you are somebody who gambles even a moderate amount, like not even at my level, because before I got to doing what I'm doing now, I usually would not have any trouble getting rooms comped. I'm now at a level where I'm
Right.
getting suites comped, and the amount of time I'm staying somewhere is really only limited by whatever local regulations might exist, because there are
Right.
some places that they can't comp you a room more than 2 weeks consecutively. Not that I'd ever stay in one place on the road for that period of time, but
Could work. Right.
um,
I would. I'd
a
be
lot
happy
of
to.
them, yeah, a lot of them are part of larger networks with properties all over the place, and not even just like the two big names, at least in the states, for the casino gaming and racking up points and all this other stuff, are Caesars and MGM.
Right.
And
Yes. Yes. Yes.
everybody's, I'm sure, heard of most of those. Recently, I've been doing a lot of my stays at the New York, because I like it. I like its location.
It's a
Um,
pretty good casino.
and the other thing, and one of the keys for me is I don't stay at their flagship properties. And I do this on purpose. I don't stay at the
At
Bellagio
or the
or the
MGM Grand
Cosmo.
or
Even the
the
Grand is like mid tier for them. Like the Bellagio
yeah.
is like their more hoity toity one, because
Yes, it
like,
is.
there's certainly some math going on behind the scenes in their perceived value of what they're giving you. And I don't need that kind of stuff, Like
Right.
if I want to go to those places, I
There's something
will.
about the cost and having flowers seasonal in a conservatory that jacks up the price for anybody staying there.
Yeah, yeah. So, when I was doing a lot of stays at Caesars, one of my favorite places would be the Flamingo. And again, it's the history, the nostalgia, the location, all of which are perfect.
Yeah, it's
And
very
it's
Vegas.
actually, yeah, as far as Caesars in Vegas is concerned, they see that as one of their lower tier properties. And I am quite all right staying there anytime that I'm in town. Now, years ago, this is certainly not the tangent that we expected to go on, but
We
years
don't respect
ago,
tangents.
it's true. Yeah, when Caesars and Eldorado kind of had this buyout merger sort of thing going on, the way
Right.
that they comp stuff changed substantially. So what I get for a very similar amount of play from MGM is substantially better than what I get from Caesars.
Oh, Caesar, step up your game. You heard it here
Caesars,
first.
Caesars does need to step up their game. Now, I still do some, but not nearly as much. Like I don't know when the last time I spoke to my Vegas host for Caesars was, whereas my MGM, my M Life host, I invited him to the hockey game that we went to a couple months ago.
Nice.
So night and day difference. And again, I've always traditionally been the kind of person that will schmooze the people who traditionally are hired to schmooze me. You know,
Schmooze is lovely. I'm the same way. I feel I think schmooze to go both ways. You take care of me. Hey, you're pretty cool. I mean, if I can, if I have the ability, yeah, I'm the type of guy to get somebody like that. If I can't take them somewhere or take them to dinner, I get them a gift or give a gift card or whatever. Something nice that says thank you for taking care of me.
yeah. So the added benefit to all of this is that we've talked obviously about the properties that they have in Las Vegas, and and I stay there and I get comped and I get whatever I want for the most part. My wants are very little, so let me be clear about me saying I get whatever I want. It's not a blanket statement of just, oh, look, back up the truck and give me all this shit. Like
Right.
my needs are very minimal. I don't ask for a whole lot of stuff. They're not, like I'll get room service every so often that, I charge food to my room, but usually my play is enough to get that all comped off. But I'm not taking limousines all around town like some people are and
Right.
shit
Right. Right.
like that.
Yeah.
It's available to me, but I never do anything like that. In fact, the only limos that I've taken in Vegas have been, the standard when you get your rooms comped, as somebody that is considered whatever, high roller or what have you,
Mhm.
most of the properties will do transport to and
From
from
the
the
airport.
airport in
Right.
a limo.
Right.
But they have properties all over the place. So,
I love
like,
that you play enough that limos are standard for you.
limos to and
To and
from the
from the
airport
airport.
are
But
standard.
even still, right? You play
And
enough
if
that
and really, if there were a time, let's say for example, okay, so the next time, no, this is a bad example because it's a different type of property. But if I were staying, because a lot of my shit's changing right now, we might end up going to. I have one of the next times I'm supposed to be in Vegas and staying at one of the strip properties, one of the bigger properties,
Mhm.
is for something in November that I might be pivoting out of because of potentially a trip to either Jamaica or Mexico. And me saying
Wow.
those two ors being such totally different places tells
Right.
you how solidified these plans are.
Right.
Um,
You're also going
but
to Egypt soon, right?
so that I'm not going to talk too much about.
Oh, right. That's
I,
right. That's the
I
secret trip to
will
Egypt.
say, because it's still supposed to be secret, the trip that I am going on is through an organization that has not announced this to the public yet, and
Got
I
it.
have kind of weaseled my way into this trip. I'm in like the second tier of people that is to know about this trip, and I've kind of backdoored my way into it.
Nice.
But yes, I am going to Egypt May of next year,
Okay, so we got some time.
and
Yeah.
this is good. This is actually good. I'm glad you brought this up because, and I could read through most of this itinerary if we're interested, or maybe we save it for another week. Because if we wait till August 1st, the remaining seats in this excursion will be open to the public, and I could talk about it more openly. But
We can wait till then. That's fine.
what we're looking to do, so definitely check back in the next couple of weeks because I'll give a full scale itinerary of what's going on in Egypt. But what we're looking to do, and this is interesting, and I'm really looking for any input anybody listening might have, is we want to go somewhere in, and this is, I'm open to suggestions. So this is kind of like a shout out to any of our users, any of
Mm-hmm.
the standard ways that you could communicate with us, social media, email, or otherwise. Feel free to blast me thoughts, comments, suggestions, or anything. We are looking to go out early, maybe 3 or 4 days, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, to see more stuff. Number
Right.
two, to adjust to the time zone because there's, it's 7 hours. Like, you're 6 hours different from me.
Right.
Egypt 7 hours different from me. One of the things that we're thinking about, and again, no plans have been set, nothing has been solidified. We're a little less than, I think we're 10 months away approximately from this trip. So we've got
Right.
time to plan it. But we're thinking that we might go to Greece, which is in the same time zone as Egypt, for
Okay.
3 or 4 days,
Greece
and
is lovely. We've been.
then jet down from there. One of the things that I was looking for that I don't believe exists, and this is like the big shout out, like if you find this for me, and let's say you're a travel agent, I'll book it through you just by finding it. I would love it if there was a one-way cruise that would take me from Athens to Cairo. I don't care if it's 3 days. I don't care if it's 5 days, because we would then fly over to Greece.
Well, the good news is you could probably reach out to Billy Hirsch at cruisehabit.com. They would know. I met a friend of mine, somebody I met on the cruise ship, the Cruising Sisters, who I hope to have on the show eventually. One of them just became a travel agent. We have the good news is and I know quite a few travel agents, so we can definitely see if that's a thing.
And I've got a couple myself, actually, because it's funny, because one of a person who's now joined, and I'll give him a shout out here, named Chris Lowry. I don't think that he has a scoop name, or at least I'm not familiar with his scoop name. And I don't know for sure if he listens to this podcast, although as a travel agent, he absolutely should. I
Agreed.
know and connected to Chris through one of the Elkton Magic shows when Matt Donnelly, the Mind Noodler, first came to Elkton.
Okay.
And he and I have connected ever since. He and his wife run a travel agency that I will shout out here called Alpaca My Bags travel agency. And I think that's the
Nice.
website, like alpaca, like the animal,
My
mybags.com, but
bags.
it's kind
I'll
of like
pack
a
in my
funny,
bags.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll pack
So,
in my bags.
I sent a
.com.
tweet out the other day saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a one way, you know, I'm looking for a lead on a one way cruise from, it doesn't have to be Athens, it doesn't have
From
to be
Greece to
Cairo,
Egypt is
from
what you
Greece
like.
to Egypt, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be Greece because we're happy to explore somewhere else. Like if there
Right.
were a one way, and honestly, the itinerary is wide open. So if there were like a 7 day one way from Scotland, and I'm just making this shit up and just pinning places on the map that I know
Right.
that whipped down and around and plopped us off in Egypt, I'd consider that. So like
Right.
within I want to say 45 minutes of me dropping this tweet, he responds to it, "Hey, I'm sending an email," and sends me an email with a couple of round trippers. But those were specific Greece and um, Egypt. And I
Right.
don't know what the rules are. I think that you can get special exceptions to leave the boat early, but you have to do all that shit ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah, for that kind of information, I'd reach out to my boy Billy.
So yeah,
Cause
I'll talk to him. My sister-in-law recently became a travel agent because she wants to cruise all the time. She's kind of doing her own version of a digital nomad sort of thing. It's not really a digital nomad thing. They used to live here in Maryland. I think I mentioned some parts of this. They used to live here in Maryland, and then they just she bought a condo down in Orlando, and they pretty much just packed up and moved.
right.
And I want to say that she, in the past 2 months or 3 months, I don't remember exactly when she made this move. She's probably cruised in 3 months, a month and a half's worth of that time.
Oh, that sounds
Uh,
lovely.
yeah, some of them she's done back to back. Like her and her boyfriend went to New York, and then like she's a hairstylist. So what she does, she's got a client base that's up here. She comes up here every 3 months, books appointments. People pay her. I mean, she'll make like 10 grand in a week.
Oh wow.
Um,
Ooh, there's people walking around Elkton with fancy, fancy hair.
yeah. So I mean, she's not making 10 grand from like one person. She's like
I didn't say one person. I
booked
said that's
solid
I said
for
groups of people walking around with fancy, fancy
yeah, yeah.
hair.
So
And then she goes
um,
back down to Orlando
yeah,
and
and then she goes back down to Orlando, hops on
finds
a
a cruise ship.
cruise, and eventually, like the way that, like the place that she bought, somebody was using as an Airbnb before. So it's kind of set up where certain rooms are locked off, different rooms are keyed differently, there's
Right.
storage keyed differently. So her place is absolutely set up for her to rent it out during a week that she goes on a cruise.
Right.
And if you own the place outright, then figure out what it costs to go on the cruise you want to go on. You charge
Yeah.
enough so that
It's
basically you
covered.
rent the place that covers the HOA expenses and all that kind of stuff, plus whatever the cost of your cruise is, and then boom, you're gone.
Right.
You do your thing. But then as a travel agent, she gets shit for next to nothing. Um, she was telling us like she's like, oh yeah, since I'm a travel agent and I booked this myself, they gave me all these upgrades. So they literally treat me like I've been on, I've stayed 500 nights on their cruise line,
Right.
uh, or whatever, whatever the determination, because different cruise lines have different things. I'm like, interesting.
Right. Just 1 second.
So yeah, that's fun stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that trip. I'm very very interested in any insight that anybody might have on just that region of the world. I have not been there. In fact, I was chatting with Brogan the other day, and I realized that I have not been out of basically North America and the Caribbean, Central America. I've been to Mexico,
Right.
but like if you box that in, the United States, Canada, several islands throughout the Caribbean, and Mexico, that's it. Like I haven't been to Europe, I haven't been to the Mediterranean, I certainly haven't been to, anywhere in Asia, Australia, any of that stuff. to me, I see the traveling halfway across the world, Australia, China, whatever, to be like, I got to mentally prepare myself for a good like
Mm,
6, 8 months of just,
no,
I'm going to
no,
be,
you don't. Just
I'm going
go.
to be on a plane for, a whole day. Like that's the kind of shit that I need to prepare for. Like
You
to
just
get in
go.
there and immersing and doing shit, I'm all about.
All right. Yeah, just go.
But yeah.
Uh, yeah.
So you
So
got a lot going on too, yeah?
yeah. Oh man. So of course, I've been thinking heavy about this podcast and where we want to take it and stuff like that. And I know we got some fun stuff coming up. I'm really looking forward to that. But it's been a little bit over a week since we last talked, right? Just about that. And
Yeah.
I have my little notepad that of stuff to discuss in the podcast. And holy shit, the notes for this for as we're building, 'cause each day we postponed it because today we're recording a little bit later than we normally do. Each day something else happened that I said, "Oh, I got to talk about that on the podcast." Oh, I got to talk about that on the podcast. And that was funny. So I'm hanging out with this digital nomad group. Right? Shout out to the digital nomads, and we are. They're asking about the podcast and they're listening, and this in nature. And I asked a few of them that want to be on the podcast. And anytime I meet somebody, yeah, I have a podcast. This is what I do. It's called Big Sexy Digital Nomad. And I was looking to say, I'm about to talk about this on the next time I record the podcast. Like this is what's going on right now is about to be discussed. And they're like, oh wow, so which I'm gonna discuss it. Like I got so much stuff to happen. I don't even know like where to begin. There's so much stuff. I'm trying to like I don't know. So before I get into like all the stuff that's happening, play the production music or production drop. Production.
It's still not actually a drop. I got two
It's
different little
it's
construction sounds that
yeah,
I
it's a
play
button.
over top of. It's two buttons.
It's two buttons.
Yeah, I'm doing the work here,
Look at you go, DJ judgmentalist. All right,
Yeah.
so I have ideas
Okay.
for segments that I wanted to run by you for the show. Right. As this continues to grow and things change and move, and we're starting getting ready to move around again as well. Because we've been in Malaga for quite some time. And I think it was inspired by Hey Buddy Nice podcast. Kind of. Right. Because we're talking to Brogan.
Hey, buddy, nice podcast.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the podcast. Talking to Brogan about how Wayne loves the segment, whatever. And I like the loose idea of that because what it does, the segments kind of give you time
Yeah.
bubbles, and kind of focus what you're talking
Hit this
about.
mark
Right?
at this time and
Right.
hit that mark at that time. And it's
Right.
and it's not always the like as we get started today, hey, we've got a submission for wrong answers only, so let's kick that around, the 45-minute mark, which of course we'll do.
Right.
But to know
Right.
that as our listeners are always and constantly sending us wrong answer only submissions or whatever that evolves into,
Right.
that boom, that's just the 45-minute mark or whatever.
Yeah. And so I thought I came up with some different possible segments that we could have for the show, for the podcast. And hopefully eventually our boy Froyo, we can talk to him about making some music for each segment, possibly down the line, as things come up. One is Where in the World is Big Sexy?
Yes.
Obviously inspired by the shirt. So a segment where I talk about where in the world I am at that moment in time.
And I think that we want that music regardless.
Oh, of course, absolutely, yes. And then I want the Elkton Magic Box,
Okay.
where you kind of discuss what's happening in the Elkton Magic world.
Yeah.
Because that's blowing up and that's getting bigger. So I think that we have an Elkton
Oh,
Magic
is it
Box
ever?
segment.
I will take a few minutes and a bit to talk about that, but yes.
Right. And then
I did some things and it blew the fuck up.
I love it. See, that's what I mean. We need a segment for that. All right, we have Elton Magic Box. Time for to talk about some Elton Magic, right? And the World Traveler section, that's the audience portion of the show where we play audio postcards, digital postcards. I think there we can do the wrong answer only, maybe. I have an idea. I haven't come up with a name for the the quote unquote game portion of this yet because I've been trying to think of how we can make that travel esque name as we were. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. Listeners, if you have any ideas, chime in. Whether we do the postcards and things of that nature. So I think those type of segments, I think will help us focus. The portion of the shows, and then we have kind of a box and what we want to talk about. We'll go on tangents like we always do. We'll discuss shenanigans like we always do. But I think it would help create a focus, as it were. As I listen to other podcasters talk about the behind the scenes of podcasting, how they each have segments and, this block and the A block and the B block and the C block. And we don't have blocks.
That's a little more complicated than I think that we'll ever get. But hey, I learned this week that Pod Therapy scripts portions of their podcast.
Absolutely.
I had no clue. And I only learned this because on I think probably the most recent episode, they were talking about how they didn't have a script this week. So they go all over the place. Like a script. Interesting. That's an idea.
We will never go there.
We literally have, we used to, we're still in the production meeting mode here, so we can kind of stay peeled back with this.
BTS.
We used to take 5 minutes before hitting record to say, hey, what do you got this week? What do you got this week?
Sometimes we do that a little bit.
If there's something big that one of us needs to bring up, it'll be like, hey, by the way, I need to get into this today. But today it was literally like, hey, is this time good for you? Yeah. Let me go get set up. And then it's just, all right, audio check, looks good, hit record, go. And then there's no fucking plan. But again, I like it unscripted, but I also like having certain, and obviously we know that by episode 80 we'll get there, where there are certain things that we do around certain times, and then we're aiming for those marks, but we're not obviously not going to ever let that stop something that we're doing. To be like, it's 27 minutes to 24 seconds. We need to hit this.
Right.
It'll
be a lot more organic, and then flow into it. And neither one of us are really going to stress or worry about it.
I know everybody listening is fucking weirded out, thinking that I'm some sort of mind reader because I just said that timestamp, and they look down, and it was the exact timestamp that they're seeing on their display.
Right.
Yeah.
We have it right here.
And we don't edit this shit. So the time that it says that we've been recording is the time that it's going to roll out on your device. So
exactly.
Hey, you get magic secrets in this podcast too.
Boom. All right, play the production. Play us out of the production over. All right, cool. Yeah, so that's awesome. Now, before I let you know what's been happening, I have to explain something that has been in full effect. I mean, it's for a long time now, but I don't know how many people know about my superpower, one of my superpowers. And it was in full display recently. A friend of mine that I met here, Sabina, who I interviewed, so we'll have that interview coming up soon. Was leaving, and we wanted to hang out. And so, actually, the day I interviewed her, after the interview, we went down to the beach. Now that my superpower is in the interview. My superpower is this: no matter where I go, out in the world, white guys love me. White men adore me. It's my superpower everywhere I go. I was questioning if it was going to happen here. It absolutely does. They just feel the need to talk to me, which is fine. I don't mind. I love it. Right. And it's really called the superpower, but yes, that is absolutely my superpower. People can attest that we'll just be out and about walking the street, and especially older white gentlemen. They see me, they'll have to compliment my t-shirt, or they'll have to say something about something. Right. We're on the beach at this little restaurant, hanging out. The wife, Sabina, Fox and myself, and we're chilling. And there's this English couple sitting at the table by us, and of course, I walk up, and he says hello, um, and I reply hola because my brain is now trained to say hola anytime I'm greeting somebody here because when in Spain,
Yeah.
right? And then my brain registers that, oh, he said hello to me. He didn't say hola to me, right? I went, oh, okay, that's English. That's English, right? And so then I sit down, and now my ears are trained to listen to what's going on, right? As he's talking to his wife back and forth, and oh, they're talking in English, and then he goes, "Hey, love your shirt, love your color, love your whole vibe," and then we get to a full conversation, right? Because we say thank you and everything, and then that sparks, and then his wife, of course, is complimenting my wife, and those who know, Nilla is super colorful all the time, so she's like the vibe is energy, and they were really happy with it. They're from England, and like very very much from England, so I could listen to them talk all day. But he has very much um, strong England bro vibe. Like he's really cool, and like he bounced around. It was great. Like he had such high energy as we were talking. Uh, I'm sure he called me bruv at some point in time. Um, he bounced around, and then he would, talk to Nella, talk to me, talk to Sabine, so shout out to Callum and Amy from England who said they're gonna listen to the podcast. So if you're hearing this is a shout out to y'all. The vibe was awesome. They gave us some cool places to look at when we go to the UK, which is happening in less than 2 weeks, which is crazy to me. So really can't. I'm really looking forward to going there. But it's amazing, just the energy that had. And again, we were just sitting there, like all we said was hello, and then boom,
Yeah.
that it happens, right?
Now I'm wondering, because now that I'm thinking about this and I'm looking at you, and there's a high likelihood that if you are a subscriber to our brand new $1 a month Patreon, you are also seeing this because we're going to try to drop this onto that Patreon. You see that little backdoor promo there. Is it the shirt? Are these people like? Can we go and boil this down? And you may not have thought about this way, but is it just white men, or are they white and nerdy?
No, because it's not always this shirt. It's not always a nerdy shirt. No. It's not always a nerdy shirt.
Okay. But I know that you have,
my T-shirt game is on point. Yes, I sport a lot of shirts that inspire
Star Wars and Marvel and Deadpool and obviously.
And
I don't know how much of your Prince collection of T-shirts you've pared down before becoming a digital nomad, but like, there's I don't want to say a genre, but there's like a range of genre that your shirts, fall into, and I think that they become an invitation to certain styles of people that basically say, "Hey, this tells you that I'm cool to talk to. Like, I'm not going to bite your head off."
I would love it if it was just the shirts, right? Because it would give me an understanding. I wouldn't call it my superpower. That's it. My superpower is picking out amazing T-shirts that spark conversation. That's not it. Because I could be wearing
that vibe, that authenticity that goes and says, "I am not wearing this as."
No, see, Judge, you got to take it out of the concept of it's my clothes. It's not.
So you were in a Speedo on the beach, and
I could be wearing just my trunks.
Okay.
Out on the beach, no shirt, no whatever.
I'm just, the analytical mind is trying to
find a reason. Right. It's happened in suits. It's happened in my T-shirts. It's happened in my basic ass polos. It really transcends my whatever my garment is. It is something about me,
and I believe it. I mean, we all have, and I don't want to get all like granola, patchouli, tree hugger-ish here, everything, but we all have kind of an air and an aura
An
to us.
aura. Mm-hmm.
And some are
Absolutely.
much better at picking up on that than others. And, you definitely know, especially as much as you're now traveled and continue to travel and having existed for so long in a city of many, many people that are, transient for the week or whatever, that some people, for no really explainable reason, just either you're drawn to them or you're drawn from them. Like they
Right.
turn you off in ways that they've done nothing, but there's just this feeling that, hey,
This vibe
yeah,
that people have. Right. Yeah. And mine is super inviting, mainly to mainly to white guys. Um, uh, and it's interesting because my wife likes to say she likes to sit back and watch it happen in the wild. Like I'm the same way. Whenever we're out with Fox, right, or ever my wife, guys who follow, you understand. My wife's colorful. Boom. I like to sit back and watch people respond to her visual, right? And they see her, and they're like, oh, and they're amazed, right? They're amazed. But especially now, it's huge if she's carrying Fox.
yeah,
Fox has a sling that we walk with, especially because if it's crowded, we don't want to get stepped on. His little dog is the cutest little thing ever. Um, that breaks people's brain, right?
hmm
And I watch that break brains all the time. It's one of the best. I wish at that point in time I had like this little camera on my chest just to record what's happening in the world and follow the people whose brains explode every time. We were walking, and I don't remember where we were, but uh, this woman, we're through a mall or something, lost the ability to speak. She saw Fox
hmm.
and was having a conversation with somebody, general conversation, and then saw Fox and like and like lost her mind.
Hypnosis is real, folks.
It just the idea, and it's like, hey, you guys have seen a dog, right? It's just a dog. But there's another dog owner that's a part of the group, Luciana. Shout out to Luciana, who has two little cute dogs, Swami and Shakti, um, and they're adorable. And she was saying that people stop her all the time. At first, she liked it, right? It's like attention. The people not the dog are cute. But now, like, I have to hide them in the stroller so I can just get to where I'm going,
Yeah.
without being bothered. Uh, and we completely understand that, you know. Uh, uh, so yeah, so that uh, translates. So we're used to getting attention, right? And then it just blows up. So again, shout out to Callum and Amy. I hope you had a great time. I hope you're enjoying Spain. I hope you're back home and safe and sound in England. And when we get to the UK, we're definitely going to have to look them up and see what's going on with them. Speaking of Luciana, my segues and transitions. Uh, I'm building bridges from one point to another. Um, I have to give another shout out to Luciana, especially specifically Luciana and Nas. Now, Nas, I absolutely have to have on the podcast. Uh, um, he is funny, but and wonderful. Having never been to the U.S., only having uh, superficial and stereotypical ideas of the United States.
hmm
Uh, I continue to have conversations with him, and apparently I keep blowing his mind, and he keeps cracking me the hell up. But shout out to him and Luciana. They came out with. I did a, a Tuesday Terrace in Torremolinos because I love alliteration. And they were two of the Nomad group who came out, and we had meal at Thai food. So it was Thai Terrace in Torremolinos on the Tuesday. And we hung out and sat and chat and talked and everything. It was really wonderful. It was great to see them and hang out. So I want to give a big thank you to them for coming out and hanging out with us. And I don't know when, but I got 2 weeks to make it happen. I mean, again, with Zoom and everything, it can happen at any point in time. But I want to get an interview with Nas. Just stay tuned, listeners. When that happens, you're going to want to definitely download that episode and say put that one in the bank. So I have a feeling that'll be the episode that we tell folks
Start here.
Now, question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this or not because I don't remember. Do you remember which episode it was where I described my name? Where I told the story of my name?
Oh, geez.
That was early on.
It was very early on. I can't say that I specifically remember because I know that we canned 3 or 4 of these early,
right?
And we may or may not have actually played them in the order that we recorded them. I also know that
challenge listeners, if you're hearing this, go back in our catalog and let me know because we're too busy recording. We're too busy moving forward. I don't really have time to look back as much. But if you can find the episode where I give the explanation of the origin of Big Sexy, because I think right now that would be a very good jumping off point for folks. Also, it's shorthand for people who say, "Why you call Big Sexy?" Listen to this episode.
Yeah,
and that'll give you the full story of the name. So I want to figure that out. Whereas also another shout out to Luciana. She made Luciana has this wonderful Etsy shop, and I'll put the link in the description below. She makes macrame, which is like hand woven garments, and then in that nature, she made really these cute little garments for Fox.
Oh, cool!
That are adorable, and if I can remember where they are, they're in his bag. Oh, hang on one second. Now that we know that we're going to be releasing video, this will be a little extra for the people who are watching the videos. Hang on a second. Oh, the legs.
And while we're waiting for that to happen, I'll just give a shout out and a plug to anybody who's listening to this who might not have tickets to come see Eric Diddleman tomorrow at Elkton Magic. I have no idea if there are tickets still available because it is pretty damn close to selling out. And we'll probably get into this a little bit later, why I have blown Elkton Magic up. But that you should stop delaying buying tickets to any of these shows. So Eric Diddleman tomorrow night, Elkton Magic. Maybe tickets are available. Maybe they're not. Who knows by the time that we get to when this actually drops. So welcome back, Big Sexy.
Thank you very much. So now, this is the macrame. It looks like a little. This is my little outfit. No. This is a little outfit that goes with Fox. It goes on him like my arm is Fox. It goes on him like that, and his legs. And he
cool.
walks around. But she made this one, and she made this one as a gift for Fox. So we're going to take Fox on a little photo shoot at some point in time. Anytime we go someplace beautiful with him, we're going to put those on him and take some photos for her so that she can, sell them. And this stuff is one of her businesses. So shout out to Luciana. And it's Buddha Vibes. She's on Instagram. Buddha_vibes_macrame, something like that. I'll put her Instagram link in the description.
Sweet.
I'll make notes to do that right now because otherwise I'll forget. Luciana. It's IG. There we go. Okay, so yeah, shout out to her again and thank you very much, Luciana, for the doggy clothes. They're adorable, and Fox looks really cute in them. When they came out to the Tuesday in Torremolinos, we put them on, and he walked around. Now Fox hates clothes; he's gonna hate it, right? They look so adorable on him. He's absolutely gonna hate it. He hates clothes. That's just what he does. But he looks so cute in them, so we force him to wear them. We're those kind of people. Now, Speaking of people, let me ask you this: have you ever had somebody get you into some place that you uh, either weren't supposed to be in or didn't have access to initially, um, and then somebody kind of sneak you in? Have you ever been snuck into a place?
Oh yeah, for sure. Or snuck myself in.
Right now, I this is a shout out to Amy and Imelda, who are from Ireland. Um, who I went to a rooftop international meetup, um, and it was at this rooftop and in here in Malaga, and it was an okay event. Not my vibe. It was crowded, a very small space, you know, from a different WhatsApp group, but people from our WhatsApp group were going. But every time you got there, everybody kind of clicked off into their own set. So you kind of talked to people you knew already, which eventually was okay. But, you know, I was hoping to meet new people and, you know, have it be the kind of, you know, place where you meet folks because it's a meetup, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't quite happen that way. Um, only funny, the only new people I met were two people who weren't going. They held the elevator for me when I got in, and then on the way up, you know, talking whatever, and they were coming to the rooftop. And now this is the power of, you know, Jake always says carry a ladder or wear blacks, right? Or I don't know if you heard the new one, have a radio, have a headset,
Little
right?
headset
Yeah, have a
thing.
headset. I didn't have any of that, but my name is Big Sexy, which is a distraction enough that they were like, "Oh no, we're with Big Sexy," and they're like, "Oh, okay, right. I must be somebody because my name is Big Sexy." So I get them into the party. They come into the party with me, and they're hanging out, and it's their last day in Spain, and we're hanging on. So I get to meet Amy and Imelda. Like I said, they're from Ireland. They old friends. They travel together all the time. Best of friends. They're really enjoying it. They wanted to go to a rooftop party. There's no way they were gonna get it anyway otherwise. So um, ended up having a great time with them. And then more digital nomads friends showed up, and so hung out. It was a great party. Uh, Lovely. But then I thought, wow, that's awesome. You know, how amazing is it to like that's just got to be fate, right? Um, had they not held the elevator for me, they wouldn't have got in.
Yeah.
Had it took me a while to find the place. Had I found it right away, I would have already been up there
Yeah.
when I got in, right? I love how the universe brings that kind of timing. It was perfect. There's no other way, you know. If anything changed, that was it. Their night was, you know, just going to be walking around the city center, right? But because of this, they got to go up and have this really good time. Really great views of the fort that's in Malaga, the cathedral as well. Decent place. But I love how the universe brings that kind of things together and bring that kind of fate together. You know what I mean? Really awesome. Really, really, really fun. Now, I talked about the feria, correct? I talked
No,
about I didn't talk about the fair that I went to. Yeah, this
I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah, this
I don't,
where is Big Sexy's portion. All right, so we'll table that for the next conversation because I got to give a shout out to other folks that I met. Again, shout out to Yana and Jane, who invited us out to 87 Fusion in Malaga Central. Met them, and then shout out to Adrian who gave us a ride home. And I have to tell you about this ride home, but we're getting close to where we have wrong answers only. So I want to
yeah,
get to
yeah.
that before it gets
I,
too late.
I want to invite everybody, since we're talking about rooftop bars. Anybody who has not gotten tickets yet to my tour that starts in probably about a week and a half with the Mind Noodler, you could go to mindnoodler.com or judgmentalist.com/mindnoodler. There is a rooftop bar on top of the
A
Lord
roof.
Baltimore Hotel.
Oh, nice.
And that is the location of the Pose Magic show that we have in Baltimore on Saturday, July 22nd. So if you haven't bought tickets to that yet, and I don't run those tickets. I don't run that venue. So I don't have any idea, nor have I gotten a recent communication with a ticket sale number. So I don't know whether it's sold out, whether 2 people have bought tickets, or somewhere in between. I'm imagining somewhere in between, because if it were
You
sold
can
out,
enter Safe Travels at checkout and get
no,
nothing.
not on that one. I have
But
nothing.
no. You can enter Safe Travels at checkout and get absolutely nothing.
Yes, you sure can.
But I thank you.
But you can enter
Got a message saying that code doesn't work.
at the Elkton Magic ones and save some coin. I don't know what, but we will most definitely be hanging out after the show at that rooftop bar if the weather is appropriate. So if you're looking for that sort of experience, grab tickets to the show on the 22nd. mynoodler.com or judgmentalist.com/mynoodler. So, yeah, do you want to have me ask you some questions and you get them all wrong?
Let's get into this. I've been waiting for this moment.
I don't even remember what this audio sounds like.
Me neither. I purposely have not listened to it.
And I'm super excited about hearing it again for the first time and having everybody out there listen. So for those of you who don't know what's about to start here, and I'm really just going to tease this out before I click this button. This is a segment that we call Wrong Answers Only. So a world traveler has sent me 3 questions, and I'm going to ask them to Big Sexy, and he is going to answer them intentionally wrong in fun ways.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully it's funny.
If you want to submit questions for Wrong Answers Only, we've actually, in the midst of this one coming through, have kind of changed that format. If you listen to the last episode before this one, send the 3 questions, then leave some space and put the answers below it. That way I can try to answer them correctly when Big Sexy answers them wrong. We'll see how that goes. Wrong answers only.
Wrong answers only.
This one is coming from, I got 3 questions here coming from Sincerely J. Alexis, and they seem to be
I know her.
Disney themed. So
okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Question number 1. What was the first Pixar movie?
So this is very simple. So the first Pixar movie, everybody knows about the little lamp that hops on the eye at Pixar. What people don't know is that was originally a animated sex toy from the animators at Disney. It was just a joke. One of the guys animated a sex toy and had it hopping up and down on the eye. That's why it makes that squeaky noise.
Yeah, there you go.
That was the very first Pixar movie. Now, it was just a short, and it never got released, but that was movie number 1.
Now, the first one that they actually released involves 2 other animated sex toys. These animated sex toys are named Woody and Buzz. You can visualize them yourself. And yeah, that brings us to the right answer of this question, which is Toy Story.
Correct.
Question number 2. What did Aladdin steal from the marketplace?
Well, everybody knows that Aladdin was a street rat.
Yes.
We all know that he's a street rat, also a diamond in the rough. Now, what people don't realize, what he actually stole was diamond-encrusted cheese balls. Right? It was very rough, very tough to do it, but all of his thievery was diamond-encrusted cheese balls because, that's what they have at markets. All their cheese is covered in diamonds. That's what he stole.
I need to find some of these markets.
Well, you got to go to that time era. That was back when diamonds were really inexpensive.
Right. Yeah. Maybe I'll see. Maybe there'll be some sort of time warp when I go to the Mediterranean, and I can
exactly
check that
now.
out.
Do you know the real answer?
The real answer is a loaf of bread.
That's right.
Last one here for the wrong answers only. This one actually gets us into the Disney parks.
Ooh.
Which classic ride can be found at every Disney park around the world?
Which ride can be found at every Disney park around the world?
Yeah, I'm assuming some sort of different version of it or what have you, but yes.
Oh, that's easy. Your mom. Ba-dum-ts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's funny. I actually just deleted that drop.
no, you gotta keep them rim shots in there.
I just deleted because I didn't like the specific rim shot that we had. But yeah, that is wrong answers only. We'll Alex will that music here. I'll skip over it like it's a little bit of a bad here. But yeah, bigsexynomad@gmail.com. Send us 3 questions. You don't have to be in a theme like these were, but you're more than welcome to do so. And then leave some, put a period or whatever on the line, and then like 20 lines, and then put the answers. That way, when we do
Also,
this
shout
next
out.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, when we do this next time, Big Sexy could do the wrong answers. I could take a stab at the right answers, and we can kind of wrap it all up.
Then we can
together.
verify. Do you know the real answer to that last question?
Yes, it is Dumbo, the elephant ride.
Ah, good. I didn't know that. I had no idea. A shout out to Jay Alexis, sincerely Jay Alexis, for sending that in. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't have to twist your arm too much for you to send those in. Sincerely appreciate that. And listeners, you too can send us trivia questions, as Judgmental has said, and I will answer them incorrectly, and Judge will try to answer them correctly, and then we'll figure that out. And hopefully it'll be fun and entertaining. If you guys enjoy that, let us know. We'd appreciate that. And then if you have your own wrong answers to those questions, go ahead and tweet at us at
why not?
bigsexynomad. Hashtag wrong answers only. Put the question and then put your own wrong answers. And if we like them, we'll probably read them on air.
Yeah.
We'll do it like Jimmy Fallon does his
his
hashtags.
I love it.
Hashtag. Yeah.
I think that, here's what you got to do. You've got to treat this in the social media spectrum as if you are fact checking us. And there's nothing better. Like they say, and I don't know because things have changed in a bunch of the social media worlds, but they say that if you ask a question on Reddit, you are unlikely to get too many responses or answers. However, if you've got 2 accounts and you ask a question on Reddit and then somebody else, your second account responds with the wrong answer, then there will open this groundswell of people who will chime in. They don't care about answering your question. They care about ripping on the person who got it wrong. So feel free to fact check us with other wrong answers, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, people don't care about the right answer. They care about correcting people.
That's right. So go out there, get corrected, help us, because it'll
I don't
help.
care if I'm right. I just know that you're wrong.
That's right. That's right. And I'd love to see if something like that takes off. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. So write us on any of those socials. That'd be cool. Keep telling friends because this thing continues to grow, at least based on the stats that I'm seeing on the back end. So thank you all for being a part of that. I love seeing it.
How do you, a question that I keep getting asked, and I tell them I don't know the answer to. Do you know how many listeners or subscribers or anything of that nature that we have a roundabout figure?
So I will tell you that what it's telling me, and I don't, this dashboard is whatever. It looks like we have probably about 50 people that are consistently listening to every episode.
That's nice.
And usually about 40 of those are doing so within the very first week of the episode dropping. Like, for example, awesome. We're not a week away from last week's. In fact, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 5 days, we've already had 41 people listen to the most recent episode, in less than a week.
That's awesome.
And that
Thank
number,
you for listening. We appreciate you guys sincerely.
Yeah. And that number was like 28 a month and a half ago. So nice. It's cool to see that grow. We love it.
We're growing.
And we'll just keep doing this for you because it's a lot of fun. Some of you might get to see the video of this. This will be the first time that we've released anywhere video of this, assuming that it works. Fingers crossed.
Right.
And where can somebody find that video if they want to?
Well, they can go to our Patreon. And I think it's patreon.com/bigsexynomad. I think that's how you get there. I don't know for sure. Yeah, I know that eventually we'll probably grab a domain or something that it'll be like one of our merch, right? So we have like hashtag no hobo,
Yeah.
right? Right. So we go to nohobo.com.
It is patreon.com/big sexy digital nomad.
Okay. So / big sexy digital nomad. So there you go.
So the
So
full
that,
name of the pod. And here's the thing. We aren't ready for a Patreon. We don't have the listener base for a Patreon. However, we want it to be able to provide content that's not out there in the world, but that our listeners can get access to. So there's only one level of this Patreon, and it's $1 per month. That is basically the hey, prove that you have a pulse, and then you
yeah.
get this stuff. So far, there's not much there, but I have posted video of a recent performance of mine. I will continue to post my performance videos there, for better, for worse, or whatever. Again, we're going to try to see if we can't upload this episode, the video version there.
And I'll tell you what, if possible, and I don't know how this works, and I'll talk to people who have other Patreons or whatever. I would love to grandfather in, right, as we grow, as we get bigger, people who listen to us from the beginning, right? Because eventually we're going to have to move stuff up to a higher tier, right? We'll be the common, the tiered levels and things of that nature. But I would like to somehow grandfather folks in who have supported us from the beginning, right? Who were there in the beginning, so that we're not hitting like, if we ever get like a tier, like you have a $10 tier, $10 a month or whatever, you're like, man, I was comfortable at 1, or I was comfortable at 5 or whatever. Like if you're in there, I would like to have you in there at that point in time. Then if you want to change that when we get to that point in time, that's up to you. But it's not something that you have to do. We'll figure that out.
Here's an idea, and I'm just spitballing this. We'll see if it works. But as far as the normal tiers are concerned, and a lot of you listen to podcasts, so you understand what I'm talking about. You know that every podcast, when they get a Patreon, eventually has some sort of like one-timer deal. Okay.
Right.
I'm not, which is, Jock versus Nerd on ICS and stuff like that. I'm not talking about those one-shotters, okay, that are designed to only be used one time. But when I'm talking about the ones that people would normally subscribe to on a monthly basis, I think that the play needs to be that if you are, it will figure out, what the name for this is. But like, if you are an early member, if you subscribe to our Patreon, let's say within the first 80 episodes, by the time we get to that point that we feel like we maybe know what the hell we're doing,
right,
you will always be upgraded one tier as far as the benefits that we provide you. So if there becomes a $1 and a $5 and a $10 tier, and you stay at the $1 tier and you were one of the original members, whatever the $5 tier benefits are, we will do what we can to give you access to.
right.
That may get complicated when it comes to stuff that's unlocked within
the tier range, right?
Paywall, but when it comes to mailing shit out, whatever, it's an idea. Don't hold me to that. I don't know if we'll be able to make it work, but we'll make sure you get taken care of.
That's what we'll definitely do.
That means us directly emailing you the content because, that you don't naturally have access to.
Right.
We'll make sure that you get taken care of.
And that email address. So if you email us now, right? If you email us now and let us know you're a listener now, just send a listen. Hey, I'm a listener now, right? That email is bigsexynomad@gmail.com. If you shoot us an email, those emails get saved, right? We'll know, and we'll know. We'll know right away. We'll know when we have changed everything up. We can search in the email, back to this date, like any other emails before this date, and mark those up. If you just send an email saying, "Hi, I'm a listener. Thank you for the magic you guys bring us. We appreciate it. Big Sexy had my baby." Whatever it is, right? Send it to us, and so it'll mark us like, oh, you're definitely an early listener, and there'll be a special place in our heart and our swag.
Have my baby.
Yes.
Sent.
Done. Perfect.
There we go.
If you want to hit us up individually, Judge, where can they find you?
Psychic-ish or Elton Magic on pretty much all the social medias. Psychic-ish actually just transitioned over to Threads.
Same.
And I don't think we've done it for no, you did do it for the podcast, didn't you?
You better believe I did. Hop right
that.
the moment on look, right on, immediately. Why? New bandwagon.
That's right.
And I want to be one of the first ones to hop on it and not let it pass and go, what is this thing now? No, I want to be right in the middle of it.
Sounds good.
We both missed the train on TikTok, and we're trying to play catch up, and playing catch up where everybody else has already mastered it sucks.
That's right.
Yeah, you can catch me at Who Is Big Sexy, and then you can catch us at bigsexynomad.
That's right. Pretty much everywhere that is worth having, and a few that might not be worth having so much.
Exactly.
Until next time.
A shout out to all the folks and a shout out to the listeners. Thank y'all very much. Safe travels.